Welcome, everybody. My name is Karen Gorbach, and I'd like to welcome you to the November 7th meeting of the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging. We have a very nice crowd in here with us today. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And may we have a roll call, please?
Please say here present when I call your name. Chair Gorbach.
Here.
Vice Chair Loretta Allen is absent. Commissioner Stephen Allen. Here. Commissioner Belding.
Here.
Commissioner Burt.
Here.
Commissioner Gitt.
Present.
Commissioner Maria.
Here.
Commissioner Mortimer.
Here.
And Commissioner Posta.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are at number 4 now on our agenda, which is public comments, and I have no public comment cards. Anybody at the very, very last minute want to fill one out? No? Okay. We're going on then to number 5 on our agenda, liaison and agency reports, and I'm up first. 5A, Ventura County Area Agency on Aging appointments. I spoke about the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging last year at a number of meetings. And just to remind you, the VC AAA is a county organization that has responsibility to administer and budget for a number of countywide programs to better the lives of individuals with disabilities as well as the lives of older adults. And some of those programs include, I jotted them down so I wouldn't forget, the Home Share Program, Senior Nutrition Program, the Health Insurance Information Program, Transportation Vouchers, Fall Prevention Classes, and many, many other really important programs. And we have 2 individuals on this council who serve on the advisory committee for VC AAA. And that's myself and Commissioner Tony Gitt. Now, because Tony and I are now also serving on the California Senior Legislature, we are automatically assigned also to the advisory committee of the VC AAA. Therefore, we now have 2 openings to fill from the Council on Aging. So I would like to ask my fellow commissioners if you would be interested in filling one of these vacancies to please let Francine know by this Friday. It basically will be part, you would have to agree to attend 5 or 6 meetings a year, every other month, however they schedule them, up in Ventura from 9 till 11, as well as serve on a subcommittee. And it's a really important role because it approves a lot of the budgets that the VC AAA prepares for all these programs, and I mentioned just a few of them. So it's a wonderful opportunity to see and meet other people from other organizations throughout the county, and I think this is my 4th year that I am serving on it. So once again, if you are interested, you don't need to decide right now, but please let Francine or myself know by this Friday. Thank you. That concludes my report. Let's go now to B and C, and for that, I will call on 5B and C, Commissioner Posta.
Thank you very much. We got Patty Ham here. She's the director of the Global Adult Community Center. She's been there for many years, and she hasn't lost her job yet because she does such a fantastic job. And she's going to tell you just about a few of the events she has going over there. You'd have to check their Gazette, and it takes you about a half hour to read it because they had so many good things there, but she can only give you a little sampling of it. So give us some teasers there.
That's right, Commissioner Post. I won the election last night, so I still have a job.
Oh, really? Great. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners, for having me on this fine afternoon. Some fun things we're having over at Global. I was recently certified to teach a Ageless Grace Brain Fitness program. and I am offering free demo classes this month for seniors to come and check it out to see if that's something they're interested in. The class is based on the science of neuroplasticity, and it's to improve cognitive and physical function through engaging in simple and fun 21 tools of just simple movements of your body, different movements. And it's done in a chair. It's done with music, and it's an hour of play. And it's a great class, and I encourage each of you to come and just try it out. And the different class dates that we're offering is tomorrow, November 8th, November 15th, and November 29th. They're all Thursdays, and it will be from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's a long class. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. At Goebel Center. So if you're free tomorrow, I encourage you to come and stop by and have fun in this class and just wear something nice and comfortable to move around in. And then I'll be offering sessions again, free demos in December. And then we'll start in January offering fee-based programs for that class. Coming up this week, even though it's sold out, I just wanted to let you know that we are having our annual recognition of our senior veterans this Friday for our veteran breakfast and USO show at Goebel. Unfortunately, it is sold out, but it's fortunate for the 300 individuals who are going to come and enjoy. We're having USO-type entertainment, and word has it that I might be on the list of an entertainer as well, singing a little ditty with Jim Sheridan. In November also, we have, and it's sold out because we're so popular. I'm sorry I keep saying we're sold out, but I wanted you to know about it. Our Goebel Senior Center Commission is offering Soul Cow's Sister Swings. The Andrews Sisters, thank you. The Andrews Sisters are coming. They're going to come and they're going to sing. It's not actually the Andrews Sisters, you know. But it's almost like they are when you're watching them. And they'll also be at the USO show singing as well. But they'll be performing on November 18th, Sunday from 3 to 4:30. And that show is sold out also, but you can be put on the waiting list if you want to call the center and see if you can get in last minute. And then the last thing is, in December, we're having our annual holiday luncheon, and tickets will go on sale November 14th. And those tickets are $7 each. And the holiday party is Monday, December 10th at 12 noon. And it will feature a very delicious lunch and dessert and prizes and entertainment and maybe a special guest song by yours dearly here. I like to say it's my party, and I'll sing if I want to. And that is it for us today.
You're entitled to, Patty, to sing all you want to. I don't know where you find the time, but see what I told you? She took up 20 minutes, and she only covered 3 items. There's about 33 things you can do. Check out the Goebel Gazette, because it's full of stuff that all of you will enjoy. And next we have Julie Spivak. She's a director of the Conejo Senior Volunteer Program, and she's always looking for volunteers and has a whole list, I think, of things she's going to talk about where you can actually participate and pay back now for all that we've received in the past. Go, Julie.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Posta. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Wellness Fest that is going to be coming up in January 16th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Goebel Center. Patty actually also will be doing a demo of her Ageless Grace there. We're adding demos on this year, so we're going to have yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, sidewalk CPR. Los Robles is going to be there doing that, so we're really excited. We still have vendor spaces, so reserve your space today. We also have spaces for nonprofits, so come into the CSVP office if you want more info or to pick up a sponsorship packet. Also, if you are interested in new volunteer opportunities, Right now, the CSVP free income tax program is looking for adults 55 years of age or older to be part of the team of volunteers that provide free income tax assistance. We are looking both for preparers and for graders right now for the program, and computer experience is not necessary, or computer experience is necessary, but accounting experience is not. And both positions will need to commit to 1 day per week. The information meeting will be on Tuesday, December 11th. And last year, the CSVP tax volunteers prepared over 2,000 free income tax returns and brought over $1 million back into the community. Also, we just partnered with the Chumash Indian Museum, and they have wonderful new opportunities, including front desk volunteers, gift shop volunteers, gallery guides, hike leaders, docents, and more, also to help with special events. We also partnered with the Cancer Support Community, and they're holding their 25th Holiday Homes Tour fundraiser featuring 4 stunning Conejo Valley homes on Saturday and Sunday, December 1st and 2nd from 9:30 until 5:30 p.m. Volunteers are needed to help docent in the homes, to take tickets, to help at the shuttle stop, and more. This is one of their signature annual fundraisers. So if you're interested in the Wellness Fest or volunteering for any of these opportunities, please call the CSVP office at 805-381-2742. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Lots of great things always happening in the community. I just always, when I listen to these reports from CSVP and GOBO, I think we are so lucky to live here. I mean, this is a great place to live. I'm now going to call on a variety of commissioners to deliver their commissioner reports, and we're going to begin with agenda item 6A, and I'm going to call on Commissioner Allen to speak to us about caregiving.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Steve Allen. I'm one of the... Can you hear me now? That's fine. Once again, my name is Steve Allen. I'm one of the volunteer commissioners on the Council of Aging. I am the program chair for caregiving, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the Council on Aging's functions in regards to that and what's come to my experience recently. We are to maintain a directory of all local services concerning senior citizens. And on caregiving, it's a bit of a search to get to the website. The number of clicks, I believe it's Conejo Connections that you go to on the website, and that takes to several pages, and you'll find one on caregiving. When you click that, it opens up a directory of about 100 websites, and my consideration of that, if you find yourself confronted with a caregiving situation, it's a little bit ominous to be staring at 100 different websites. For instance, if you were looking for someone to come in and live with mom or dad, I wouldn't immediately think about looking for a website that says referral agencies. And that was the presentation I was working on, the lexicon of terms in that website. And I decided to hit a pause on that and reflect a couple of stories, events that have come to my attention on caregiving in general. Recently, my wife and I went, and this isn't senior caregiving, but it's caregiving in a sense of the heart. My wife and I went to Arizona to help celebrate a family member who had adopted 2 children. Now, this family had 3 children already in their family, and as we became more aware of the situation, they were adopting 2 very young autistic children. And the thought is, what are these kids thinking, adopting 2 more children? And we went out and celebrated with them and began to experience that they were dealing with all the attributes of more children and autistic children, but they had tapped into something much larger. It drew my wife and I to come out, and we played with the children, and it was just interesting thinking about caregiving. And the other story I wanted to share was a family in my neighborhood, and these are two retired people, and they provided caregiving for their mom. And as the years went by, we saw their struggles, and this relates to our website. There was resources that they needed. I wasn't a commissioner at that point, so I wasn't in a position to share. But they felt that they were overwhelmed by taking care of mom. There were awkward situations where the son had the aspect of needing to bathe mom. Very awkward. At one point in the burden, one of them slipped in helping mom and broke their wrist, and became to appreciate that there's a lot of resources that they could have found through the Council of Aging, that there's peer counseling, there's a number of things. And in searching for these resources online, there's a lexicon of terms to find. And as I was researching them, you get into the burdens, the risks, kind of the burden side of caregiving. And it wanted me to spend some time, as I'm doing today, to talk about the other side, because these people in the neighborhood took care of their mom and experienced these things. And mom wanted to live to be 100. She accomplished that. She wanted to see grandchildren born. She accomplished that. And the mother has passed away. The caregiving family is going on to other events. And considering all the burdens that they carried and the broken wrists that they went through, they tapped into something much larger to themselves by following their heart, stepping into the caregiving. And I didn't find a lot of that on the websites. So if you find yourself in a caregiving situation, I encourage you, follow your heart, ask questions, visit the website on ConeoConnections.org, ask for help, because you'll receive it. There'll be provisions for you as you do that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Allen. I'd like to call on Commissioner Belding now for agenda item 6B, who's going to speak to us about outreach.
Thank you very much. I am the program chair for Outreach and also the Happiness Booster Committee. So I'm going to start today with my happiness tip. And I participated in a gratitude and kindness webinar. And one of the specific recommendations that they offered was to try a gratitude journal. And they discovered that over a 6-month period, people that incorporated the kindness and gratitude tips that they were offering wound up with an increased happiness. And they wound up with decreased pain, decreased stress, less anxiety, less depression, and their blood pressure decreased. That's even better. So this is not your traditional gratitude journal. This one, the best practices of this journal encourage you to be specific, not just like, oh, I'm really thankful for my family and I'm so glad I still have a job or whatever, but very specific and include unexpected or surprising things. Even what they call kind of near misses, where something could have gone really bad, but hey, it turned out great. And they also want you to include things that are great, but also some little small things. You know, a baby's smile. I had to wait in the ER with somebody this week. That was not fun. But there was this little baby waving at me from their little seat and pointing at me, and it really lifted me up and made me happy. So that's a journal entry right there. And my brother complaining about driving home from the hospital way out in the valley and the rush hour traffic. And he said, but you know, he called me on the phone. It is the most gorgeous sunset I've seen in I don't know how long. That is your journal-worthy stuff right there. Doesn't have to be really big things. And the important thing about the process of the gratitude journal is to make it a habit. You mentally note things during the day, and they say just about 5 things at least. And you record them that night, or you could do it the next morning for the previous day if that's better, because they really want you to do it at a time where you're not feeling rushed, time where you feel comfortable. But they also suggest that you do it at kind of the same time every day, and you keep a notebook that's only dedicated to that. You don't use it for, notes to the grocery store or a quick note to the kids. And that you keep a pen or pencil right near it all the time. So if you remember something right now, you don't have to go look for your pen before you forgot what it is, and you don't want to feel rushed. So that's my happiness little note for today. And then also, another topic I wanted to discuss was the Wellness Fest. Julie Spivak already addressed that, but I would like to talk just a couple seconds about, I did attend a city staff meeting just recently related to the fest. And this year, the city of Thousand Oaks, for the first time, will be on the main stage. So we'll be the main event. I really love that. I love the main event idea. So there will be representatives. We're actually going to have 7 tables across the stage that you can come and speak with people about city management, emergency services, environmental services, the finance and budget services, and the library will have a table there. And now the library does offer passport services for those of you lucky enough to be able to go off to the Wild Blue Yonders, and transit services, and we will be there. The Council on Aging will have a table as well. And finally, I would like to encourage you, the Council on Aging, we serve as your linking pin between the public and the City Council. So if you would like us to come to your organization and present information about some senior services that you might be interested in, we are available and we are happy to do that. So if you would please call, and I believe they will show that for you now, 805-381-7362, or you could email Council on Aging at toaks.org, or you can visit our website, www.toaks.org.seniors. Or if you want to see any archives from previous council meetings that we have for the committee, you could go to the video archives at www.toaks.org/TOTV. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a very interesting report, Commissioner Belding. And you know what? Listening to you, I was just thinking about this past Saturday. I had to wait for a plane in the Sacramento airport for 6 hours. 6 hours. And at one point, I got so tired. I got a cup of coffee and a slice of the lemon pound cake from where has really good lemon pound cake with thick icing on top. And I never eat it, but I thought, man, I'm sitting here for 6 hours. I'm going to have a piece of pound cake. But I went over to the western side of the terminal and saw the most outrageous sunset. Sitting there with my coffee and lemon pound cake watching the sunset. It was awesome. So I should have written that down, but thank you for the reminder, Commissioner Belding. Good job. And I'd like now to call on Commissioner Maria, who is going to report on social services, and that is for agenda item 6C.
Thank you, Chair Gorbach. We have a speaker coming up shortly that's going to be talking to you about reverse mortgages. So I wanted to kind of partner with her and talk about reverse mortgage counseling. So you'll be seeing a lot of information on reverse mortgages. It's a wonderful option for a lot of people. But with most things, one size does not fit all, and it is a legal contract. So we want to make sure that you make sure it's right for you. So it's important to speak with a trained counselor, and you want to get somebody that can give you the right advice. And our speaker shared a great contact with us because most mortgage counseling is done over the phone now. There is not an in-person counselor in the Ventura County area. So she shared some wonderful link for us. And here's how you can find a reverse mortgage counselor in California. This is the important website to remember. It's HUD.gov, HUD.gov. And you see a long string down there, and I'll show you exactly how to get there. But if you can remember HUD.gov, it'll take you where you need to be, and you're going to find a lot of other wonderful options while you're there. I'm going to kind of walk everybody through. If you look at the screen, I'll show you what it's going to look like when you go to that website. So the first thing you're going to see in the upper left corner in that dark blue is HUD.gov. That means you got to the right place. And then if you go over to the right where it's circled in red, you're going to see a series of options at the top, and you're going to go to the one that I've labeled number 2, and it says what we do. And when you go over that with your mouse, with the little arrow, it's going to give you a list or a menu that you see right below it, and those are all the options on the website that HUD does that you can go to. The one that I've circled down at the bottom, and I've labeled number 3, says Senior Citizens. So if you click on that, on Senior Citizens, it's going to take you to their Senior Citizens Social Services page, and you're going to see options, and what I've numbered there, number 4, one grouping of options is labeled Stay in Your Home. And the very first thing you can click on is Reverse Mortgages for Seniors. So if you click on that, it's going to take you to the page that's going to give you information on conversion mortgages for seniors. What I've circled in red is there's a section on counselors, and there's a sentence that says, to find reverse mortgage counselor near you, select the HECM counselor roster. It's in a light blue there, and I put a box on it. You just click on that, and they're going to ask you for your information. It's going to take you to local counseling options that you can call near you. Now, that's a very confusing way to go through the website if you're not familiar with websites and you're not comfortable with it. So the other easy option is you can call 800-569-4287, and they will help you find a reverse mortgage counselor as well. So just in general, in summary, do your homework before entering into any legal document. Visit HUD.gov. Not only just go out there and look around, not only going to this one website on counseling, they have a lot of options of things that you can look for. So it's fun to go out there and just see what's available from them. But also you can call HUD directly for a list of reverse mortgage counselors at 800-569-4287. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Important information that we really like to bring to you folks. Okay. And now we are at the point in our agenda for our special guest speaker. That is agenda item 7. And for that, I would like to call on Commissioner Mortimer.
Thank you, Chair Gorbach. It is my pleasure to introduce Debbie Lee. She is an area sales manager for Retirement Funding Solutions. She manages a team of loan agents from Paso Robles to San Diego, as well as the states of Arizona, Colorado, and Texas. She has been in the mortgage industry for over 30 years, the last 18 focusing on reverse mortgages for seniors. She enjoys educating consumers, realtors, financial advisors, and CPAs on the advantages of using a reverse mortgage as part of a strategic financial tool in retirement. She's married, has 4 adult children, 4 grandsons, and has lived in Ventura County most of her life. Debbie is a member of Moore Park Kiwanis, Moore Park Presbyterian Church, a board member of the Baraka Foundation, caring for HIV/AIDS orphans in Kenya, and is a past board member of Senior Concerns in the Canale Valley. Please welcome Debbie Lee.
Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to be here. Is that loud enough? Can you hear me okay? Okay. Okay. So thank you for the invitation to be here. And really what I want to do today is simply give you some education and take some of the fear out of maybe what reverse mortgages are. And so we're going to talk about a few things. When you're considering retirement, there are the 3 L's that I think we need to think about. Longevity is one of them. The number one fear for seniors is no longer dying. It's now running out of money, not having enough money in retirement. Will I have enough to meet my basic needs? A recent survey of seniors showed that the average 65-year-old has less than $100,000 in savings for retirement. And the issue is we're living longer. So the lifestyle is another concern. Will I have enough money to maintain my lifestyle, my standard of living? Do I need to right size or relocate? Maybe move to closer to a family member, or downsize or right size, buy something that's a little bit less expensive to maintain. And both are valid things to consider in retirement. Another concern is liquidity. Will I have enough, or will I have access to tax-advantaged money when I need it? Oftentimes when you take money out of a retirement account, it's a taxable event. Reverse mortgages are not taxable, and I'll get into that a little bit in this presentation. So today, we're going to cover how reverse mortgages work, the uses and the benefits, and the pros and the cons. So we will talk about some of the cons as well. So most reverse mortgages, and Commissioner Maria mentioned it, the HECM, the HECM, which is the Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. The bulk of the reverse mortgages that are done today are FHA-insured HECM loans. They are low-risk government loans. They're insured, and they're non-recourse. What that means is the borrower can never owe more than the value of the property. The funds are not taxed. They're loan proceeds, but you need to talk to a tax advisor because I don't give tax advice. You can use the funds however you choose, as long as it's legal. There are no prepayment penalties. So if you win the lottery or you have some kind of a financial windfall and you've all of a sudden you've come into a bucket of money, you could pay a reverse mortgage off and there are no prepayment penalties. Or if you need to sell the house for health reasons, you could pay off the reverse mortgage as well. There could be a line of credit available with a reverse mortgage, and if there is, unlike a standard home equity line of credit, the reverse mortgage line of credit actually grows, much like an investment would, or a savings account. And it's not interest, it's a growth factor. As you age, the program actually allows you to access more of your equity. So as you get older, they're unlocking more of that equity for you. The benefits, you can retain the home as your primary residence. If your heirs want to keep the house after you no longer live there, the heirs need to pay the loan off, but they could maintain the property. And they can actually buy it back for 95% of the value of the property. And again, I'll go into that a little bit more. The line of credit, just stepping back for half a second, there were a lot of people that had traditional home equity lines of credit in the 2007, 2008 when the market kind of went sideways. And those lines of credits were frozen, or you had a $100,000 line of credit and all of a sudden the bank notified you that, now you have $20,000 available to you. They reduced those lines of credit. That can't happen with the FHA reverse mortgage. That line of credit is in place for as long as you live there. Common uses of reverse mortgages. So consolidating debt or paying off other debt, paying off a mortgage. Oftentimes, for many clients, simply eliminating a mortgage payment is a sufficient enough cash flow lift. Now I'm good. I no longer have to make a mortgage payment. If you think about that, I no longer have to make a mortgage payment. Gives you some cash flow right away. You can supplement monthly income. Again, it's an option. The reverse mortgage allows you to take income on a monthly basis if you choose to do that. It is a retirement planning tool, and studies have shown by financial advisors, and I call them brain trusts, people much more intelligent than I, they've done studies and have found that people that use reverse mortgages, even though they have assets, they have money in the bank, they have retirement accounts, but they're using their equity as a wealth strategy to allow their investments to last longer. So you're kind of balancing your buckets, your financial buckets. Instead of pulling all of your assets out of your investments, now, okay, let's just use some equity. Is the market bad? If the stock market is bad and you're losing money in the market, you have to sell more stock to get income. Well, if you leave that alone and instead you pull from the equity, that's just a different strategy. Often people are using reverse mortgages for healthcare cost. We all know those costs are going up, and it's only going to get worse. And Social Security income doesn't always cover those costs, so the reverse mortgage funds could be used for that. We have clients that have used a reverse mortgage for long-term care or to pay for in-home health care. They want to stay in their home. They can't afford that care. Again, we talked about that earlier, the commissioners did, and it's not cheap. So how do you fund that? Well, if you have equity, you can do that. You can create a cash reserve for emergencies. So all of a sudden the car breaks down or the roof leaks or something along those lines. You could have an emergency fund. You can use it for fun stuff. You can travel, take a vacation, take a trip, gift money to kids or grandkids, watch them build their homes. We actually had a client who did that, did a reverse mortgage and gifted money to an adult child so he could buy a house up in Northern California. And this one is relatively new, but you can also purchase a home using the reverse mortgage. We call it H for P, HECM for purchase. So you think about this. Think about the house that you're currently living in. And my first question to any client should be, or for you to consider is, can I age appropriately in place where I am? Can I get up and down the stairs? Maybe I can today, but can I in 5 years? So those are the things that you need to think about. Can I age in place appropriately? And do I want to? Am I close enough to my family members? Do I want to be closer to my grandchildren? Those are things to consider while you're in the process of thinking about what am I going to do. But if you think about if you have a house in Thousand Oaks and you've lived there for 40 years, and let's just say the value is $500,000 because this blonde brain needs round numbers to work with. So if the house is worth $500,000, you could sell that house, 2-story house, the bedrooms are upstairs, it's got a pool, you've got a landscaper, you've got all of these expenses going out. You could sell that house and move closer to move into a senior community. You could move closer to your adult children or your grandchildren. Smaller community, smaller house, less expensive. And you could use a portion of that $500,000 that you would get from the sale of your home as a down payment and still have money left over in the bank to invest and to add to your nest egg. Again, it's an option. So, okay, are we going to go? There we go. So this is what the definition of a reverse mortgage. It's the HECM, the Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. It's a unique loan that allows senior homeowners 62 and older to access the equity in their homes without having to sell it, give up title, or make a monthly payment. There is a cap on the FHA loan. The home value, it's a nice round number, $679,000, $650,000. And so when we calculate, or when a lender calculates how much equity you can tap into, if your house is worth $800,000, because that happens a lot here in Thousand Oaks, or $1 million, the cap that they would look at for the value of the property is $679,000, $650,000. So that just means that you're not going to have you're going to have a lot of equity left for your heirs, and there's going to be some equity that won't be considered in the calculation. It's not a bad thing; just means there's a lot of equity left. You have to maintain it as the fine print on the bottom. You have to maintain it as a primary residence. You're responsible for your taxes, your property taxes, for your homeowner's insurance, an HOA fee if that applies, and then you need to maintain the property just like any other loan. So how does a reverse mortgage work? Eligibility, again, I said 62 and over, and we say that more than once. Has to be a primary residence. There is some financial assessment that takes place. We want to look at capacity. Do you have the capacity to stay in the home and continue to pay the taxes and insurance? Are you willing and able to? It also works on single-family residences, 1 to 4 units. So if somebody has a 4-unit building and they live in one, they could do that and rent out the other 3. That's a really good retirement strategy in my mind, collecting rents on 3 units while I'm living in one and not have a mortgage payment. It can be a condo. The condo has to be FHA approved, and that's a process. It can also be a manufactured home as long as you own the land. So it can't be a mobile home in a park where you pay space rent, but it can be a manufactured home. And I know we've got some of those in Ventura County. I think there's one here in Thousand Oaks or Westlake as well. You are responsible for paying the taxes and the insurance, and the HOA if it's applicable. And we say that more than once because we just want to make sure that everybody understands. It's your responsibility. It's just like it is today. It's your home. You have to pay your taxes. You have to pay your insurance. The benefit is determined by the age of the youngest borrower who's on title, the appraised value of the home to that cap of $679,650, whatever the current interest rates are, and the product that you choose. There are fixed rates and adjustable rates, and you can decide which one you choose based on what your needs are. Reverse mortgages can be done if one of the borrowers is 62 and they're married to a 59-year-old or a 30-year-old. A reverse mortgage can be done, but again, it's based on the age of the youngest borrower. So they have to be at least 18. Receiving benefits, you can receive benefits as a lump sum payout. You can get monthly payments, so just like your Social Security goes to you straight into your bank account, you could get an advance from the reverse mortgage as well. You can set up 10-year payments, which are term payments. So I only need payments for 5 years because in 5 years I've got something else that's going to kick in and provide me with some income. You can do that, or you can put it all in a line of credit. You can do any combination of those things. If you have an existing mortgage, that loan has to be paid off first. So again, oftentimes seniors just say, eliminate my mortgage payment because that's all I need. Now I'm good. So that can happen. There are consumer safeguards. Consumers are protected by a wide range of safeguards, really making the HECM the safest and most regulated HUD mortgage that's available. And they include, again, that non-recourse. You can't owe more than the value of the property. So if you have other assets, if you have other properties, rentals, second homes, if you have investments, they're all protected. The lender cannot touch any of those. The home remains the title to the house as long as the homeowners retain title to the house. Again, as long as it's your primary residence. You're entitled to the remaining equity, your heirs, or you are entitled to that equity. So if the loan is due when you move, if you sell, or when you've passed away, all the borrowers. So as long as one of you is living in the house, nothing changes. When you both have passed, if there's equity left, it goes to your heirs. the lender doesn't take it. The third-party counseling that Commissioner Maria talked about earlier, it's required and it's mandatory, and it's done prior to an application. And California has a very unique law that an application services can't be started for 7 days. So you get counseled, and then you cannot, whoever you work with cannot take an application can't start that process for 7 days. They can actually take the application technically, but they can't order any services. An appraisal, they can't run credit. That can't be done until the 8th day. And the counselor wants to make sure that you understand the program, that you've not been sold a bill of goods by somebody. It's not true. They want to make sure that you're not being coerced into doing something you don't want to do. And they also want to make sure that you have the mental capacity to be able to make your own decisions. So they can do that in the course of a conversation. It's pretty interesting. I mentioned it earlier, the equity lines cannot be frozen, they can't be canceled, they can't be reduced. And that line of credit grows regardless of what home values do. And I think that's an amazing feature because we all know real estate is cyclical. It goes up and then it goes down. It goes up and then it goes down. And it's a cycle. And I mean, I don't know when I'm going to pass. And I don't know if the market's going to be up or down. So if there is equity left, it goes to your heirs. But that line of credit will grow even if the home value drops. That $500,000 house is now worth $300,000. And you have a line of credit of $200,000 or even $300,000, that line of credit can't be taken away. It's there in place. So let's talk about myths versus facts. So reverse mortgages have had a bad rap, and in the beginning of my mortgage career, I actually badmouthed reverse mortgages. I said there's no way I would ever do a reverse mortgage, and I would never recommend it for any of my clients. But that was because I didn't know what they were, and I had heard rumors, and that's what I was listening to. So when I educated myself and found out the truth, it's like, okay, wait, I think this is what I want to do, and so that's what I've done for 18 years. But they have a bad rap because prior to the FHA coming in and taking over, which was in 1988 actually, there were insurance companies that would do reverse mortgages. And the insurance company could go on title, mom and dad and the insurance company. And when mom and dad passed away, who got the house? The insurance company. Not a good deal. The other thing that caused them, I think, to have a bad rap is there was something called equity share, where the lender got to participate in the future value of the property. So the values are going up. The borrower is paying interest on this loan, and then when they pass, the lender could get whatever loan and the interest that was due, as well as sometimes as much as 50% of the appreciation. Well, that's not a good thing either. So in 1988, President Reagan signed the bill into law that put the FHA program actually into place. So the myths. The lender is on title or owns the home. Not true. If you're currently vested in a trust, it stays in your trust. If your husband and wife join tenants, it stays that way. The lender does not go on title. It's a mortgage, just like any other loan. The lender has an interest they're like a lien holder. You know, like when you finance a car on your pink slip, you've got a lien holder. You remain on title and you continue to own the home. You can do any kind of improvements you want to. You have the power to sell. You can refinance at any time. You just must continue to pay the taxes, pay your homeowner's insurance, maintain it, and pay the HOA if that's applicable. Myth number 2, the funds from a reverse mortgage are taxed. Well, again, not true. They're 100% tax free. It's not a taxable event. Unlike pulling money out of some of your investments. It's a loan. It will be paid back at some point in the future. And it's due when all the borrowers have sold, have moved out of the house, or when all the borrowers have passed away. Myth number 3, reverse mortgages are risky, and the funds are not guaranteed if something happens to the lender. Again, they've changed a great deal since the 1960s. And the HECM, the Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, has been in place since 1988. It's now one of the safest and most regulated HUD programs that are available. And we've gone through an evolution in the reverse mortgage industry, having watched it for 18 years. And it's all to protect. It's to protect the senior. It's also to protect the FHA mortgage insurance pool. It does both. They are FHA insured. That's a part of the loan cost. A HECM is not a proprietary lender product. There are proprietary products out there. We call them jumbo reverse mortgages. And so reverse mortgages can now be done on loans that are with the home value up to $10 million. You can do a reverse mortgage. It's a jumbo product, works a little differently, but still kind of the same concept. But today in this presentation, we are talking about the HECM. Myth number 4 is the borrower can end up owing more than the home is worth. Again, it's a non-recourse loan. It's not secured by any other assets than the home. So there's no responsibility. If the borrower was to owe more than the home is worth, when the loan became due, and again, we don't know where the real estate market's going to be, an FHA managed insurance fund would cover the shortfall to the lender. So it's not your other properties, it's not your investments, it's not your kids. They're not responsible for your debt. I'm just trying to read some of my notes to make sure I cover it all. So the loan doesn't have to be sold when all the borrowers have passed. I mentioned this a little bit in the beginning. The loan is due and payable. So the loan is due, just like any other loan. It can be paid off with other assets. Is there a life insurance policy? Is there a retirement account? Do the kids want to keep the house because it's a family home on the beach and that's where they want to be? They want to use it as a vacation home. The kids can do that. Or an heir, a direct descendant, can actually buy that house back for 95% of the appraised value from HUD, and then they can keep it. But typically, they can also refinance it and put a conventional loan on it. It's just somebody has to fill out the application and qualify and then make mortgage payments. It is a loan. It's not a free ride. So if you think about it, it will be paid back at some point in the future. If you have a mortgage payment today, or when you had a mortgage payment and you made that payment, you write that check, and you see your statement, you've got a lot of money going to interest and a little money going to principal, and your balance is going down, right? Okay, and that's what happens with conventional lending, 15-year, 30-year, 20-year terms. That's what this is going this way. Well, a reverse mortgage goes the other way. If you think about it, the lender is allowing you to borrow money. They're charging you an interest rate. You're not making a payment. Therefore, the loan balance is going like this. The loan balance is going up. And so where is the real estate market? We don't know. So that's how it works. I mean, that's the Reader's Digest condensed version. But the loan balance does go up. So the loan does erode the equity that you have in your home. But it also provides you with a different lifestyle that maybe instead of struggling every month, maybe it gives you a little bit of freedom. So if your goal, so here's the con in my mind, although it's not I will keep my opinion out of that. If your goal is to leave your heirs all of the equity in your home, then this loan is not going to work for you. It won't do that. But if your goal is to live your life without your adult children's help and be independent, this might be the answer for you. So something to consider. Myth number 5. When the reverse mortgage becomes due, either the lender takes the house, or they sell the home, or the heirs lose their inheritance. Again, if that's not true, the heirs can still receive the inheritance. Any equity left goes to the estate. After the home is sold, the balance of the mortgage is paid off, and then whatever's left will go to the heirs and be distributed. Hopefully you have a will or a trust. So no other assets other than the home can be used as collateral to secure it. So if you have other properties. We actually had a client that did a reverse mortgage, and when you look at this individual, you would think they don't need one because they owned their home free and clear, $1 million house free and clear. They had multiple rental properties, all owned free and clear, 2 businesses free and clear. They don't need a reverse mortgage. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of equity. They have a lot of property. But they didn't have long-term care. And so they did a reverse mortgage to help facilitate long-term care costs because they saw that coming down the road. So lots of reasons for doing reverse mortgages. Again, I talked about strategy. It's being strategic. Myth number 6. If a borrower outlives their life expectancy, the lender will kick them out of the home. Well, the fact is, a borrower cannot outlive a reverse mortgage. Cannot be forced to move. You can't be forced out of the house as long as you pay, I want to hit the repeat button, your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, and maintain the property if there's an HOA, those kinds of things. There is no term on a reverse mortgage. So if you do a conventional loan today or you have one, or even if you have a home equity line of credit, there's a term on that. Conventional lending is typically 30 years or 15 years or 20 years. The home equity lines of credit have to be renegotiated every 10 years. If you have a conventional home equity line of credit, it has to be renegotiated every 10 years. There is no term on a reverse mortgage as long as you live in the house. So if you live to be 150 years old, whatever you set in place when you started would still be there, would be available. Myth number 7, you can never get out of a reverse mortgage. Well, again, there's no minimum term, there's no maximum term, and there's no prepayment penalties. So like I said earlier, if you have a windfall, you win the lottery. You got to play to win. But if you win the lottery, if you have a windfall of some kind, an inheritance, you could pay down that loan, pay it off. If your children give you a gift, you've done a really good job, and now your doctor child can pay off your mortgage, that's possible. And you can also pay down a reverse mortgage at any time if you wanted to make payments to your reverse mortgage because you wanted to preserve some of that equity for your heirs. You could do that too. Myth number 8, we're coming close to the end. A reverse mortgage can impact or will impact my Social Security and Medicare benefits. It has no impact on Social Security or Medicare. It's tax-free. If you have Medi-Cal, then the lender needs to be very careful because those programs have restrictions on assets and income. And so when it comes to that, you just need to use somebody who knows what they're doing to make sure that they don't jeopardize kicking you out of that program. So in 2009, that H for P, the HECM for purchase, has been around since 2009. And it can be utilized to purchase a primary residence, assisting borrowers to either downsize or right size or move closer to your family or move to a more desirable community, although I think we already live in a pretty desirable community here. So compared to cash or traditional financing, You can significantly increase your purchase power. So if you sold your house for $500 and now you have $500 to $450 to put down, you could go pay cash for a house for $450, or you could do a HECM for purchase, H for P, and use that $450 to buy an $800,000 house or a $700,000 house. So you could buy up, or you could buy down and keep some of that money in your nest egg. It can increase your cash flow, the HECM for purchase, because you don't have monthly mortgage payments. It can keep assets liquid for other uses, so you're not throwing all of your cash into a new home. Now I have no mortgage payments, because most seniors in retirement don't want a mortgage payment. But if I can do the HECM for purchase, buy a house, put some of my money down, but put more money in retirement or more money in a savings account so that I've got something else to fall back on, keeps it liquid. And again, eliminating that need to make a monthly payment. And I mentioned this one earlier too, an interesting retirement plan for me, although I'm not sure that we have a lot of 4-unit properties in the Conejo, but buying a 4-unit property, living in one of the units as a primary residence, and renting out the other 3, or even a 2-unit property. Live in one as a primary residence. I don't have any mortgage payments. I'll rent out the 2nd unit, and I'll collect those rents. Life is good. It's an option. So if you want to learn more, then these are the questions that you need to answer, have answered. Am I eligible? So you have to be, again, at least 62. And it's based on home values and current interest rates. And as rates rise, which is what they're doing today, the rates are just going up slowly. As the interest rate goes up, the amount of equity that you can tap into goes down. So just know that there's an impact there. How much is available to me? Again, it's based on your age, the home value, and the current interest rates. How can I get a quote? You can get a quote from a reverse mortgage lender. And in that quote, Commissioner Maria was good enough to give you all of that information from the HUD website. But in any quote that you receive from any HECM lender, there will be a list of HUD-approved counselors in that quote as well. If they don't give it to you, then they're in trouble. What rates and terms are available? So there are fixed rates and there are adjustable rates. And everybody has a different, there are different options. It's what are you trying to accomplish? What are your goals? And in a purchase transaction, typically we do a fixed rate loan. But if somebody has a home that's owned free and clear, then the adjustable rate mortgage gives you a lot more options when it comes to taking income. And the adjustable rate has that line of credit available. The fixed rate does not. And you can use a reverse mortgage, the H for P, the HECM for purchase. So that really is pretty much the end of my presentation, pretty quick. A lot of information. Sometimes it feels like you're drinking from a fire hose. But if you want a personalized proposal, then we can do that for you as well. So again, Commissioners, thank you for your time. I hope this was informative for all of you, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay, we are now ready to entertain questions from the dais. From Ms. Lee, any questions from the commissioners?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Burke. Yes.
Just questions?
No, comments are fine.
Good. I know Steve here, Commissioner Allen, had talked about caregiving. And one of the things that I wanted to make everybody aware of, we all want to be in our homes as we age, of course, and hopefully that's gracefully. In those instances when you have a loved one or you're considering having to take them out of the house, there are plenty of services available, long-term care services in the Ventura County area. An agency that I also volunteer for is called the Long-Term Care Services of Ventura County. And we are also ombudsman, and ombudsmen visit all of the nursing homes and residential care facilities in the county and evaluate the services that they provide. And it's a great tool. The office is in Ventura, and it's called Long-Term Care Services of Ventura County. The phone number is 805-656-1986. And of course, if you did put it in your browser on the internet, you'd put in Ventura County Long-Term Care Services, and it'll take you right to the agency. They'll provide you with the names of different care facilities in the county, whether they be 6-bed homes, whether they be, long-term care, more of the skilled nursing facilities where the care, of course, is increased. So that's also a service that's available. And if you wanted to use that, of course, feel free to call them or speak with me afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burt. Any other questions or comments from the dais?
I have a comment.
Thank you. Commissioner Belding, turn your mic on.
Thank you. I just have a quick comment. I attended a travel training workshop this month at the Global Adult Community Center, and it was presented by the City Transportation Department. And they presented just tons of fabulous, valuable information. But my favorite thing was that they told everyone, there was a person there who used the Dial-A-Ride service frequently. And her wonderful tip was that if you become eligible for the Dial-A-Ride once you turn 65, or if you are ADA qualified, that you could go and get a Dial-A-Ride card long before you might even think you ever need one. It only costs $4. It never expires. And if your car breaks down and you're not going to have a car for a week, you have a way to get to your medical appointments or whatever situation that might come up without having to now figure out how you're going to get somewhere. So I think it's a great idea to get a Dial-A-Ride card as soon as you're eligible.
Thank you very much. So finally, any final questions for our speaker today? Thank you. Commissioner Posta.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. You didn't mention the interest rates that they charge. What are the ordinary interest rates?
Well, typically
probably a range, but
there is, and it ranges. They vary by lenders as well. So, and rates are going up, and just like any other forward lender, there's can be a little bit of a difference. But the adjustable rates are typically right around 4.5, between 4.5 and 5, and the fixed rates are right about 5.5.
Yeah, I think you might have spent a little bit more time on the risks of borrowing any money in the future, because essentially when you do a reverse mortgage, what you're doing is selling your house or selling part of it, because to keep it, or for your heirs to keep it, they got to come up with that money eventually. And what it keeps dropping is the value of your asset, if you will. The value of that asset as you go along keeps dropping. Correct?
That's true.
That's true.
You're eroding the equity that you have.
You're eroding
true.
the equity,
True
and that's true. And one thing specifically I talked about, you said that if the market dropped, rather than selling your shares to maintain your position while you, isn't that just like borrowing or margin borrowing? You're essentially borrowing to keep stocks.
Well,
now
no,
that's risky.
Well, the strategy would be to put a reverse mortgage in place. And then when your investments, your stock, whatever that portfolio is, when that market, if that market went down, and we know that's cyclical as well, and you need $20,000 a year to pull from that for income, well, if the market's a down market, then you have to sell more stock to get that $20,000 a year, right?
Or borrow, and you can borrow on your stock from a broker and pay them an interest rate for it. But the fact that you're borrowing and it's costing you money to borrow, and therefore your net worth keeps going down no matter where you borrow from. You borrow from a broker at 5%, or you borrow from your reverse mortgage at 5%. It does cost you that.
It does cost. I mean, it is a loan. It's a loan.
Right.
And anytime you borrow money, there's always going to be an interest rate.
And I think it's wrong to borrow money to buy stock.
I'm not saying I don't encourage that either. That was not that wasn't what I was saying at all. And I apologize to you if that's what you heard.
No, it gave the impression that in order so you don't sell stock to live on, you should just keep the stock there and borrow to live on, whether it's from a credit card or from a broker or
Well, what I was
And I
saying
think
was-
that's a little risky.
Well, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But what I was trying to convey is that if you put the reverse mortgage in place and you had it and you had a line of credit, you're not borrowing money. That line of credit, that reverse mortgage line of credit, is growing tax-free, so that when you need money in the future, it's available to you. If you have $20,000 a year that you need from your investments and the market is down and you have to sell more stock to get that $20,000, instead of pulling that $20,000 from your investment, leave that alone and let the market recoup. And this year, pull the $20,000 out of the equity that you have, out of your line of credit.
In other words, borrow it.
Well, a reverse mortgage is a loan.
Right.
It is a loan.
That's okay.
Okay, in the interest of time, real quick. Thank
One
you.
quick comment. Loan origination fees,
Mm-hmm.
typically, what are they?
The maximum that can be charged by FHA is $6,000.
Okay, so if you took that reverse mortgage out and you went to the max at 679, as you mentioned, you were eligible for that.
Right.
So you had that. You would have probably about a $6,000 origination fee on the actual
Correct.
loan.
Correct.
If you took the one question that I had is if you use that as a line of credit but did not draw upon that reverse mortgage, are you charged any fee? There's zero fees, no loan origination fees, no other kinds of fees. You basically have a line of credit of $679,000.
No, it's so the amount that you can borrow is based on interest rates, age, and home value. And so I call it the FHA haircut. So if your value is 680, depending on your age, they're going to give you the younger you are, the less equity you can tap into. But there are upfront costs to establish a reverse mortgage. Once it's in place, if all you did was put a line of credit in place, you'd have upfront fees, but you wouldn't be charged anything ongoing. You'd have this line of credit that would be growing until you pulled money out of the line of credit. Then it becomes a part of the loan. Then you've borrowed money, and now you're paying interest on that portion you've borrowed.
Understood. So basically there is a fee to have this enacted, even if you don't draw upon it.
True. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ms. Lee. You know, we want to bring information during our monthly meetings on all types of topics to everyone, and we so appreciate your coming to bring us some good, solid information in your area of expertise. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And Ms. Lee, if you wouldn't mind staying when we're completely done with the meeting, I'm just sensing there's a couple questions from members of our audience, but we're going to have to wait until the very, very end of the meeting, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go on now, please, to agenda item 8 on our agenda, and that is commissioner comments. We'll start at this end. No?
Already gave my
Okay. Down here? Nothing? No? I always have a comment. This past week, Commissioner Gitt, who is sitting to my left, and I were sworn in as members of the California Senior Legislature. We were sworn in the Capitol building in Sacramento, and you know, I hadn't been there since my children were little, and we took them like on a field trip to Sacramento, and it was really beautiful. If you haven't been to that building in a while, they've added a new building onto the old part of the Capitol, and the whole complex is just steeped in history, beautiful. It sits in the middle of the park. Outside this is funny. Outside the governor's office is a huge, life-sized brass bear. And they kept telling us, don't touch the bear. Don't touch the bear. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to touch the bear. And then whenever the governor's in there, there are 2 highway patrolmen, one on either side of the bear, and they're guarding the office. And so, you know, I finally asked somebody, why can't we touch the bear? And they said, because the highway patrolmen call it the bubonic bear. It has so many germs on it because thousands of school children with sticky hands come by it every year with the nose and the hands and pet the bear all over, and no one cleans it. So that's why they told all of us, don't touch the bear. So that is my story. And now, as we go into the last part of the agenda, which is our adjournment, I'd like to thank you all for coming today, and thank you to our television audience. Our next televised meeting will be on Wednesday, December 5th, when our guest speaker will speak on also another really important topic on wills and living trusts. So please be sure to be here or mark it on your calendar to watch it on television or on the internet. And just a final thank you to all the commissioners who worked hard this month to prepare information to pass on to you and to be the contact for our speaker. And thank you to Francine Spriegel from the City of Thousand Oaks who makes arrangements for everything. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.